Okay. Hello, welcome back, Spiritual Sirens. Today we have a very special guest,
Ms.Monique, or you can call me MoMo.
Period. Today we are just going to be tapping in a little bit about motherhood and just the realities of life and just being a parent and all that tie into the world. But would you like to start off by introducing yourself a little bit, telling them a little bit about yourself?
Of course. Well, my name is Monique. I am 26 years old. I'm originally born and raised in Jamaica. I came here in about 2009 when I was 11.
Immigrant team.
Yeah, of course, you know the vibes. Then I moved to New York City. Then in adulthood, when I had my son, my firstborn, I decided to leave the city life and try to go for a smaller town type of feel.
Yeah.
So we decided that Manassas was where it's at, right?
I suppose.
I know, right? But yeah, so that's just me. I have 2 kids. I just recently had my daughter yesterday. She's 2 months old. And yeah, so been living. You see the CB flag in the back. Anybody's familiar with it? I was in the Navy. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran, and CB, that's the life I ref, you know.
Period.
And that's it.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about being an immigrant and the difference of life from Jamaica compared to America as far as society, community and stuff like that?
Everything was different.
Yeah.
It was a huge culture shock coming here because in Jamaica, everything's so uniform. The school is uniform, down to your socks and your shoes had to be specific. So coming here, there was uniform, but it was more relaxed.
Yeah.
But my parents here uniform, and it's uniform.
Of course.
So I was the only person in school. I just stood out like a sore thumb the moment I landed. I was the only person in school with the full entire uniform on. And then not to mention the hot waters. Yeah, the hot waters, the no-name brand. It was just a mess because everyone I just became a target for bullying. Yeah. Then the accent, everyone wanted to hear me speak, and I didn't know whether it was a good thing or a bad thing because they would laugh at there, but I don't know if it's because they enjoyed it or they find it funny. Yeah. So, it was a huge culture shock the way people talked, and, there's slang here. So then there's English that I can understand because Jamaica is an English speaking country. Yeah. So there's the English, but then there's the American slang where words can mean something completely different.
It's so crazy.
And it's a lot of times I got myself in sticky situations just by not understanding what people meant. Yeah. So it was rough. It was rough. I had to adapt quickly in order to start liking the change.
Right. And can you explain a little bit how that kind of impacted your parenting and kind of like how you plan to raise your kids in preference for that? Because
I had that taste of bullying.
Yeah.
So how I handled my situation landed me in something called superintendent suspension. I was going for about 90 days from school.
Giving SOS.
So, it was definitely giving SOS. So I decided to handle things differently from then. So that was middle school for me. I handled it wrong. And to this day, I think about ways that I could have handled that situation a little bit better.
Yeah, of course.
So now I have that prepared for my kids, just if you're gonna be different in an environment, here's how you handle it. Here's how you cope with it. Yeah. Here's how you make friends. Here's how you differentiate true friends from fake friends. I had that taste of that bad experience. Yeah. So as a parent, I can, I know what to look out for. My mom couldn't tell when I had snakes around me, and when she did, she told me. Yeah. But that was more of me and her not connecting in a way. So now I understand that I have to connect with my kids in order for them to be comfortable to tell me things. And then now I understand if they are ever in a situation like that, how they should handle their feelings, their emotions. Right. And, when, let them understand when it's appropriate to just defend themselves. Yeah. And when self-defense just becomes completely inappropriate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it just brings to make the situation even worse.
I totally it's given me that insight. And then they don't have that aspect of, coming from one country to the next, but they have the culture difference because they're being raised with the culture I was raised in. Right. So they're going to still have that culture difference. Right. So it's a matter of them knowing how to adapt to the culture that they're going to be around in school, the different cultures, versus being at home where you have the home culture.
Right.
So I had that taste, to make sure that my kids are, balanced in a good way.
Yeah. And how would you say that your cultural experience as far as like family, because most immigrant families, especially like islands and Africans, we have like a similar way of upbringing our kids. So how would you say like that would impact how you plan to raise your kids?
So manners.
Right.
Manners. You should know.
Yeah.
Big on manners.
Immediately.
Big on manners. Big on manners. That's what I've seen, and I've seen a lot of older people complain that the newer generation does not have any manners. They don't know what manners is. Like where I'm growing up from, if there's a lady, my mom had a friend come over. That's just her friend. I don't know her. But if she comes in this house, she's either auntie or miss or ma'am. Right. You don't just
Deborah.
Yeah. No. That gets you popped in your mouth.
No, for real.
When I was growing up, whoever, even if you don't know Miss Deborah, she's Miss Deborah or Auntie Deb. You know what I mean?
Very much.
So in that aspect, I'm still raising my kids with that manners. The mannerisms of if people are older than you, you should have that respect. Sir, ma'am, madam. Now you're gonna be in instances like when you grow older and you're in a job and your manager say, "Hey, just call me John," and you probably just want to call him John. You know what I mean?
But it's workplace,
right? But it's the work environment, and that's what he's requiring. You know what I mean? So it's just having that respect level, bringing that respect back. Because it fell off between our generation and the babies coming up now. Right. You know what I mean? It just completely slipped away.
I can definitely see that. But I also feel like another thing is, I think one thing that this generation is trying to introduce is mutual respect. Because they're like, right? So it's like with a lot of times, especially with authority figures from your generation older, it's like, oh, because we have this authority over you, you must respect. But it's like trying to find that balance between where respect is earned and it's like mutual respect is given.
So I was raised that way, where my mom let us understand that listen, you respect everyone until you're disrespected. Now, when you're disrespected, I cannot really. My mom always believed in I can't guide how you react to certain things because you have to be in that situation to know how you react to it.
Right.
So I was raised in that sense with my mom where I had respect for my elders, but once they disrespected me and crossed the line, I was allowed to defend myself however I felt, And then that's just being raised by, I didn't live with my mom until I got here. My dad, I was raised by a single father. Right. So with single fathers, it's a little bit different because with the girls, my dad's the only child, so with the girls, what he would do is, tell me whatever's on your mind. I don't care how it comes out. Right. I don't care what exactly it is. Yeah. Just tell me what's on your mind. So I was raised where I didn't keep anything in. And with my mom now, it's just like, respect until you're disrespected. But where that line was blurred for me was, that includes you. You know what I mean? Right. So there's a lot of time I'd end up being the one to check my mom. And she didn't like that. Right. And I never checked her to disrespect her, but the fact that I did check her was the problem. So it was like being raised with a double-edged sword. It's like, you know what I mean? Right. She'll tell you can do this with everybody else, just not me. Right. And then it's just like, well, I get that you're my mom, but you know what I mean? My dad is my main upbringing. So there's times where I got emotional and my dad allowed me to say whatever the hell was on my mind because the moment I hold something in, it ruins the relationship between father-daughter. Yeah. So he always let me express myself. So it was clashing with being raised, my main upbringing by my dad versus when I'm already going into my teenage years with my mom. I have an established personality trait that my mom couldn't get along with. Yeah. But in all, that's what I'm trying to change with my kids is the respect. I want my kids to be able to tell me whatever is on their mind, even if the problem is with me. Right. You know what I mean? I want you to be able to tell me that. Yeah. Because I don't want there to be anything where you feel like you cannot, if I'm wrong, and I'm dead wrong, and there's times where our parents was dead wrong, but you couldn't say shit.
Yeah.
I do not want that for my kids whatsoever. If I'm dead wrong, I want them to be able to call me on that, and I don't get upset about it.
Right.
And I don't make them feel like they're wrong for telling me I'm wrong.
Right.
You know, somebody's checks and balances. There's nobody checking me. How do I know if I'm out of place?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think, like, at least from my experience as a child, I feel like a lot of parents aren't ready to be held accountable by their children. So it's like you're trying to teach them how to hold themselves accountable while they're teaching you that there's still things you need to learn. Right. And it's like you think, well, you're supposed to be the teacher, but it's like you're learning through each other too.
Right.
So I feel like that's a really beautiful thing that you're introducing as far as communication, because that's a lot of things that we aren't taught properly as kids. So it's like a lot of times it's not really a matter of what we're saying, but how we're saying it, and then that we don't end up perceiving it how it's supposed to be received. Right. And it's like that's like the major blocks with a lot of families, because no one knows how to talk to each other, because no one takes the time to actually learn each other. True. And learn how like they best receive, whether it be how they best receive love, how they best receive communication, or how they best receive help. Right. You know.
Right. That's so true. That's so true. And then how you will present yourself to your kids, that's another thing. Right. So my mom, I was raised, when I came here, and that's not long with her, my mom preferred her boys. Right. She's a boy mom. At heart. Preferred her boys. Me and my sister got booted out that house at 16 before. We had to go. Me and my step got kicked out of that house, I think, more than twice. Mm-hmm. None of my brothers got the boot. None of them. And they tried with one of them.
That should be crazy.
And he wasn't having that shit. You know what I mean?
That'd be crazy to me.
It's so that's the thing too, as a parent now of a boy and a girl, to not show that preference or that favoritism for my son, or to make it seem like, you know, you can't do this, but he can because he's a boy. You know what I mean? You can't. You know what I mean? It's just not. I'm not going to do that. That's a generational curse in my family that I'm trying to break. The boys get the preference, and I'm trying to change that, where I'm not saying to prefer my girl over my boy, but I'm saying that, you know, he's not going to be able to stay in my house at 25 and I kick her out at 17. Right. You know what I mean? Right. He's not going to be able to curse me out, and then I can't tell her she can't even look at me without saying ma'am. You know what I mean?
Like, he's so crazy.
That's something that needs to change, because it's common in a lot of households. Once there's boy siblings, the boys are the preferred ones.
And that creates like division and competition between the kids themselves, because it's like, well, what are they doing that's so good that like allows them to show this type of love that you were looking for? But it's like you feel like you now have to work hard. At least for me, with my experience, it's like, I know there are times where it's like switched between the parents, like as far as favoritism, because when there's two kids, it's like, you know, sometimes one kid's going through a certain stage where they're more, you know, likable or whatever the case may be, and then it's like, damn, well, other kids still has to go through that, but they're still trying to figure out where they're at right now. Right. So it's like now it's like you're not even just trying to figure out who you are, because you're a kid, you're absorbing everything, trying to figure out what you are, who you are as a person. So it's like now it's like, dang, well, am I not doing enough? So now I'm learning who I am while trying to maybe learn someone else, so I can imitate that person, so I can get that love that they're getting, and that's not how it works.
It doesn't work like that. It does not.
It just keeps you in this whole circle of longing. It's like
it does not, and you know, it's crazy. Yeah, it end up. I can speak on the divide. It builds a divide. Yeah, because my younger brothers, for example, my mom charged me rent ever since I was 15 and working. As long as I had a job, I had to give her $200 a month. Right. Even if the pay was $200 a month. Right. You know what I mean? So I had to pay my way. I had to pay for prom. I had to pay for my senior package. So I put myself through graduating high school. You know what I mean? Pay for my prom dress, everything. She showed up to graduation but don't know where the tickets came from. I had to pay for it myself. You know what I mean? She did that for my little brothers, both of them. Paid for their whole entire package. She let them do whatever the hell they want. They could stay out, they could go on vacations. Right. I see my little brothers going at least 2 to 3 vacations with their girlfriends each year. Let me tell you something. I would have packed my stuff and talk about going on any vacation. while I'm living in that house, I would have came back to my stuff on the curb. So, you know what I mean? It's just stuff like that. So me and my sister will bring it up to my mom. Mm-hmm. Like, my mom will complain, or they're selfish, they don't contribute. They don't contribute because you never made it a requirement. Mm-hmm. It was a requirement for me to contribute. You think at 15, babysitting, I wanted to give you $200 a month? I would never gave it to you if I didn't have to. Right. You made it a requirement.
And may I say something with that? I think, like, a lot of times, especially with just another generational cycle, is that a lot of women, especially black women, are so forced to being like their masculine energy and taking care of everything. They raise their daughters in the same way and then raise their sons in the opposite way because they're trying to look for that type of softness. Like, they're trying to, like, use, not, I want to say, because I know this is talked about a lot in the communities, not use their son to fulfill that role that they're missing, whether it be if they're a single mother missing like the manly role, but it's like they're more soft on their boys and then it ends up giving that like reverse mentality. So it's like now they're thinking when they grow up that women are just supposed to care to them, they're not supposed to be the hardworking ones, and the daughters are now they're doing everything that they can to provide for themselves because they didn't have that. They weren't taught that they're just supposed to receive.
You are 100% correct. You're 100% correct. All these you can tell. Mm-hmm. You can tell. My little brothers called me panicking the other day. Oh, my mom's buying a house in Connecticut. Mm-hmm. So his school is in New York City. How is he going to go to school? I said, you should have had that figured out, bro. I was gonna go to college too, but when I thought about that shit, like my mom is so like temperamental. Mm-hmm. She moves on temper. Mm-hmm. So if she gets like the immediate urge to do something, she's gonna do it. So when I was graduating high school, I knew college wasn't the route to go because she's unstable to depend on when it comes to going to college. Right. So that's how I ended up in the military. Mm-hmm. It's a place that's gonna give me a roof over my head. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And even if, like, it doesn't work out for me, I don't get to do 20 years and retire, I still get benefits just from even serving. Facts. So I had to make a life decision, such as signing up to join the military. At a kid age. At a kid age, because I knew I couldn't depend on my mom. Yeah. And my little brothers are technically my stepbrothers. So I don't know why the hell you thought you couldn't depend on them if I couldn't. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, for sure. So I ended up saying that to them. I'm just like, well, this is what the problem is. Like, she's temperamental. Y'all got comfortable with her. Right. So now she don't feel like she's doing anything wrong because she gave y'all all the time in the world. Because when I got kicked out, the first time I got kicked out was over losing house keys, sis. Right. Losing house keys. Yeah. So now she gave you time to get your bachelor's degree and actually hold shit down where you ain't have to pay her a dime. You can buy the flyest Jordans. You can do whatever. You can dress however you want to. I said, bro, y'all had it good. Y'all had it good. Yeah. Y'all had it wonderful. So it's breaking that. Then again, parenting my children is to break that curse. Yeah. I don't want one kid to feel more dependent than one, and I don't want one to be more independent than the other. I want my daughter to be able to cook, clean, and take care of herself. My son needs to know how to cook, clean, and take care of himself. Life skills. Exactly, life skills, right. Yeah. My son's going to need to know how to take out the trash and make sure the trash is out by the time the garbage truck comes. Yeah. My daughter's going to know how to take out that trash and make sure the trash is out by the time the garbage truck comes. Right. You raise independent kids by raising adults, by raising independent children. Right. So you got to start them from young. Right. And you know what's crazy? I don't fault my mom for charging me rent. If she was saving it for me. Right. But she was actually using it. Like, damn, like, I thought I was going to get it back eventually, like. So when I'm ready to move, I'm just asked her to been paying rent. Like, you know what I mean? If I ever had to charge any of my kids or get to the point where I really can't handle the bills and I do need my kids to help me out, it's never going to actually go to the bill. And if I use it for a bill, I'm putting it back. Because when you tell me, hey, Ma, I found a place and I'm thinking about actually going on my own, whatever you've been giving me goes back to you. So now you have some savings that you've been saving and that teaches you how to save. Because you've been giving me that $200 on a schedule every 2 weeks or every week or something like that. So
it also teaches you like bills and being on time for stuff.
Exactly. But they didn't teach me shit. And then my mom always tell me, I taught you a lesson with that. And I keep telling her no. You taught me how to be broke. That's what you did. You really taught me how to be broke. You taught me how to live broke.
Yeah.
That's what you taught me how to do. You didn't teach me shit else but to live broke.
That's another generational cycle so many people are burdened with, bro. Yes. It's just a lack of like knowledge that's not provided for us, that we have to go seek out ourselves, but we don't even know the places to look for that shit. So like, it can take you so much time. Maybe like I was just blessed to be in a situation where I was like, I had to learn stuff quick, right. And I was blessed with like the abilities to learn things at a different type of pace, mm-hmm. and actually understand them and know how to apply it. So it's like I got that practice really early, and now I'm seeing it. I'm just like, I'm seeing people my age not know any of this stuff. Not even people my age, people twice my age. Yeah, this is like a real epidemic in our communities, and it's not necessarily our fault, but it is our responsibility, because like for our future families, our future generations, if you don't want to keep that going on, it's like you have to do something at a certain point. And like I feel like that's just the biggest place where we're missing right now: financial literacy, knowing how to manage the money that we have, because we end up throwing away to different things that we don't even need, or we don't handle it properly. And it's like, damn, you work so hard and have nothing to show for it for so long. Of course you're gonna get tired and want to give up. It's totally understandable.
And get into the grind, and teaching your kids, and it's okay. Like I get it, mm-hmm. It's more to. I realized going through high school that it was more to wearing name brand than just wearing name brand. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You would look at it like, hey, you're materialistic because you want this, and that, and third. And it's not necessarily materialism, It's just a matter of fact of what you're around. Mm-hmm. My mom used to call me materialistic. Nah, I just wanted to fit in.
Yeah.
That's really all it was. I just wanted to be like fit in, and not to say, because Caribbean and African parents, they're different with that fitting in shit. Like that fitting in shit hit different in their head. It's like, no,
but they do the same things though. They try to fit in with their own communities. They save face. They lie about what's really going on in their lives because they want to fit in.
So I'm like, fitting in is not always necessarily I want to follow anybody. Fitting in is just I want to be comfortable going to school when I have to be there 8 to 10 hours a day.
Because it can be dangerous when you're not.
I want to be comfortable.
It's the real reality.
Exactly. I want to be comfortable there. You know what I mean? So now she's looking at it like from a materialistic point of view, my little brothers. I said, no, they're actually working and can buy themselves Jordans. Mm-hmm. I've always wanted to do that.
Right.
So in a sense, I'm always protecting them from the shit she ready to start. I'm like, you can't start it. You can't just start this because you never did that to them.
Yeah. So
to just jump out of the blue and start the same shit you did with me and my sister, mm-hmm. it's gonna hit them like, where's this coming from? It's coming from somewhere. When for you, it's not. You genuinely need the help, but they're not gonna look at it like that because you never made it a requirement or a responsibility. And I don't want my sons to have that. My sons specifically, I don't want my sons to be raised like that. I'm not gonna raise my son with my brothers is raised. Mm-hmm. You're not about to just, you're not about to have no type of responsibility whatsoever. And then when I'm ready to live my life, when I'm old and you in your 20s, and I gotta still live for you because I ain't teach you shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now my mom is realizing that now you have to live for them because you ain't teach them nothing.
It's like it can be dangerous being a full-grown man and not knowing how to take care of yourself. Then you get, and that's where a lot of like our black men get stuck in these like really dangerous situations because they don't know anybody. And relationships too, because you're thinking, oh, okay, this is like a woman that loves me like my mother, but it's like you're replaceable to them.
Right.
It's not like your mother. You don't have no ties to that person. So now you're like getting into a situation, you're starting a new cycle, and then they hurt you because that's your business. Is not their problem. Your trauma is not their problem at the end of the day, unfortunately. So because you weren't prepared, that has nothing to do with them. So if they decide to just up and leave you, then you're back to exactly where you are. Who are you gonna blame? Them, because you blame your mother for not teaching you the same thing. And it's just constant cycle of blaming women for not being what you need, because you weren't taught to get what you need.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Having kids, like, it would really change your perspective on a lot of things, and it would really plays out. One thing I won't say though, even though I'm trying to change a lot of generational curses with my children, I will never tell you to have kids because that's what you want to do.
Nah.
Don't go out having kids because you have been traumatized by your parents.
Please don't.
Because you will traumatize yourself and traumatize your kids all over again. You'll end up repeating the cycle, or you'll end up starting a new cycle. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, what your parents did is gonna shape you as a parent regardless. Mm-hmm. You know in the back of your head.
What you know is
it's muscle memory now. You're not gonna do this, you're not gonna do that.
Right.
You already know from, even if you go through it from 2 years old, you're gonna remember for the rest of your life, I will not hit my kids because I remember this one time when I was 2 and I got smacked.
Yeah.
And I've never felt the same since. Like, you know, like, you get that one good slap, like, you know what I mean? And you say, it's just like, for example, you know what I mean? Something can happen from when you're really young, but if it's something you can remember, you're going to remember it.
Forever. Don't
have kids because of that. Don't sit here and say, I want a kid so bad so I can change this. You can't change your past.
You can't.
And you can't correct a future that ain't started yet.
You
can't change the past, and you cannot correct a future that did not start yet. Don't have kids to change a curse you can't see. If it happened in your past, then it's in your past. You can't see that curse. You're looking behind you at that point. Don't have children because you're trying to correct something from what your parents did. Because if your kids, or if you're not in the same position as your parents, then you already changed it. That's what you don't realize. If you're not in the same position as your parents. I used to think like that. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. When I was pregnant with my daughter. Yeah. So my second child, I actually learned this. Right. I said, with my daughter, I'm not going to make her feel like she can't talk to me about certain things. Right. I remember all the messed up mistakes I made in my life and say, if I could have just talked to my mom, half that shit would have never happened. Right. And I'm just like, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change it. And I realized I was looking backwards. Because that stuff I already forgave my mom about. So I was still looking backwards, like, yeah, I'm not going to do that again. It was bringing up old feelings.
Fear type thing.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and continue on that type of problem. You know what I mean? I'm not going to continue in that mindset because thinking about it is going to bring me back to the past to think about it in the first place.
You're going to be expecting it, and then you're low-key, like, subconsciously attracting it to you because you're like, you keep thinking about it instead of just healing it. So it's like that hurt isn't even there for it to come out again.
And I remember my quiet and my low moments where, hi. I remember my quiet and my low moments where I used to think, like, you know, when I had that moment where I just didn't feel worthy of myself. Right. And my parents didn't know this. Right. I don't want my daughter to just be a genuinely quiet person and I'm over here psyching myself out because she goes into, you know what I mean?
Because you're
don't have children because you're trying to correct a problem that isn't there yet. You know what I mean? Yeah. Put that past in the past. Whatever your parents was wrong with, they done wrong, and that's it. You can't correct it. You can only forgive it and move on for yourself. Don't forgive it because you try to forgive them because they asked you. Forgive it for yourself and just move on. And it's gonna be there in the back of your head, no matter what. If it bothered you, it's gonna be there. And if your child end up displaying or making a mistake that reminded you of the same mistake you made, which caused your parents to overreact, then you'll know, all right, so this is how I'm going to handle it, because then you'll remember it when you need to remember it.
Right, so it can actually help you instead of continuing like a harmful cycle.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly.
For sure. You want to say hi? You want me to say? He's welcome to.
You want to say?
Okay, I guess we have a little guest.
Yeah. Little Papa.
How would you say so far, because I know like baby's still really young, but how do you say like the differences as from like when they're newborns, like a boy compared to a girl, I guess?
So
if there are any.
There was no difference between my son. Right. But I have 2 quiet babies.
Right.
Sleep, eat, wake up, sit by themselves. Like right now, she could be in that room up right now, but you're not hearing her. She's just chilling. Both of my kids are really chill. I would say the only difference was like how you care for them in terms of cleaning them up and stuff like that. I find the girl more difficult when it comes to changing a dirty diaper.
Right.
Because it's a lot of creases.
Right. You have to be more thorough.
For girls. So you have to be way more thorough, than boys. It's just, that's the only difference that I see is just changing diapers. You realize that you can miss more spots, like secret spots with girls than you can with boys. But other than that, no, I had 2 quiet babies, and I think that leads back to just putting them on a routine right away. Right away. Like, skin to skin in the hospital, but not too much.
Right.
Not too much. You can have her there, but when you're from in the hospital, practice putting her down when she's fed. Practice putting him or her down when she's,
right.
she's good, she's not fussing. The only time I have my daughter in my hands is when she's fussing.
Right.
Other than that, she's playing, he's playing with her, he's learning how to interact with her. And if you ever come to the point where you have 2 children, and you got to teach the older one how to react with the baby and how to be gentle.
Right.
That only happens if he's having interactions with the baby.
Right.
Things gonna happen. You know how many times I'm teaching and they playing with each other, and I was like, all right, you know what? I gotta run to the kitchen and go get some water.
Right.
I run back into the room. She's upside down and he's sitting there. She's smiling, and I'm like, so as a parent, you panic. You're like, oh no, you're messing with the baby, and I don't know what you just did. Yeah. My son would literally just take her by her legs and turn her around. He likes to turn her around, but then he doesn't hurt her, because I wouldn't know he had turned her around unless I went into the room and saw it. Right. She was crying and he just playing. Right. So the only way that happens is if you let them naturally just interact with each other. Accidents are gonna happen. You can't prevent everything. There you go. You can't prevent everything, and you just gotta be in fairness. Right. Sometimes you get distracted by the new baby. You forget the old one. You can't. And he don't let us forget. Because when she's in my hand and I'm doing something to her, he's doing it right with me. Because he's like, no, I'm here too. Period. Right?
Tell him.
I'm here too.
Yeah, me too. And then, as far as like your pregnancies, were there any differences?
Oh, yeah. The girl. Bad.
Wow. I hear that a lot. I'm like, I hear that a lot.
I heard that too myself. I had to experience it. Because I'm like, everybody's different. I had to experience it. My son, the one time I threw up that pregnancy was because I ate a hot orange. And you're not supposed to genuinely eat hot oranges because the citrus is so acidic that it can make you actually have acid reflux.
Really?
Yeah, it was hot. It was just sitting, I guess it was out for too long. It was hot. Like when I tasted it, it was warm. The orange itself
you mean
was
like it was
warm.
just warm?
Yeah, it was a warm orange.
Wow.
So it literally just went down wrong and came right back up.
I never heard that.
Down. So that was the only thing. Because I wasn't eating oranges for pregnancy. It's just that one orange was too warm and it just made my stomach upset. Right. But this girl, for the first 3 months, I think the only thing I ate was crackers and ginger ale.
Really?
For the first 3 months of my pregnancy, yeah.
I had no appetite?
No appetite. Everything that went down came right back up. I was throwing up. I was at work. Like, I eat something today and then it will fuck my stomach up. Tomorrow I'll be at work. Right. Puking.
At work?
Projectile vomit. Sitting there at the, because I used to sit there right by the register, like step off the register, and I had to have the trash can between the 2 generators.
That was why?
Yes. I literally, had to, make sure that I had trash cans nearby because my pregnancy was bad. And then I went into something called sciatic pain. Right. Sciatic pain is when that baby is putting pressure on your sciatic nerve. Right. Which is that nerve in your lower back. Yeah. And it caused really bad pain down the back of your legs. Right. So I had the sciatica that I was dealing with. Then I have a hip injury from the military. Yeah. So that acts up every now and then as is. And then when your baby gets lower, your hips naturally expand. So that was painful. Like, this pregnancy was just bad. She was my heavier baby, too. Right. He was only 6 pounds. Right. She was 7 going on 8. Right. So even in that point was just like, the pain was bad. Every minute I felt like I was once I passed 7 months, I felt like every day I was about to have the baby. Like one wrong step could cause so much pain. I feel like it's actual contractions.
Right.
Like this pregnancy was just different.
Yeah.
It was different.
Yeah.
I had a great pregnancy with my son. I'm telling you, in New York City, taking a train to my appointments up to 2 days before.
Blowing, like just me having a ball.
I was walking up and down steps, walking miles at a time trying to get him out. He was 3 days late. I'm telling you, I had a ball with him. He was just chilling. She was just ready to go and still stayed late. Can you imagine? Like,
oh wait,
she stayed because I was due the 23rd of November. And she didn't come to the 27th. So they were gonna induce me on the 1st if she didn't come on the 27th.
Oh, my birthday? Wow, we would have been twins.
But yeah, so my cousin had a baby, and her daughter is October 28th. My daughter is November 27th. And I'm November 15th, and she's December 9th.
That's
so
crazy.
She has the Scorpio baby. I have the Sag baby. And they're almost a month apart, like both of us.
That's crazy because that's my mom and her friends, her two best friends that she grew up with. It was so crazy because all of the kids have like similar age. Like two of them have like 3 kids, and one has 2 kids, and then me and my mom has 2 kids. So me and the 2 girls, we are all. They're actually born on the same day. They're birthday twins. And then I'm a month before them.
Wow.
And then one of the sons is like a month before my brother, a month or 2 before my brother. And then the other one, my late brother, they would have been around the same age too. So that was really crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it kind of works in crazy ways. But, yeah, but, you know, how is being a mother, like, just in general, like, day to day, of 2 kids at that?
It is amazing.
Yeah.
Overall, just to watch 2 kids grow day by day and get smarter day by day and realize that, you know, you have everything to do with that. It's amazing. But motherhood does have its days where it's just, it's frightening. It has its days where it's frightening. It has its days where it's panicky, like you just don't know what's gonna happen. You have your days where you're just completely depressed. It's a lot to cover motherhood. So although it is overall, I can say, a great learning experience, or a great learning curve for any adult woman, it's also very difficult and it's very mentally challenging. And if you're not at, you know, a lot of people say, you know, if you're I want to have kids when I'm financially stable. I want to have kids when I have my own house. I want to have kids when I have my own business. That's nice. The main thing you need to raise a kid is mental health. Yeah. I said all those things. I didn't have my house. I had an apartment when I had my, you know, I was on my own. I had my apartment. When I got pregnant with my son, I had a job that was paying enough to take care of him and stuff like that. Then shit happened right after that. Lost the job. Then what? Yeah.
Because anything can happen. That's the thing that people forget. You know, like, you can't plan your life.
Lost the apartment. Literally, by the time I had the baby, we were back living with my mother-in-law. But we had it figured out when we were pregnant. So you know what I mean? So it's just like, it's a thing where you can have those monetary things and lose them. It doesn't only take that to raise a child. It takes majority mental health. There's days where you go sit down and you look at their room, it's a mess. Living room is a mess. Kitchen, it's a mess. Your room is a mess. Your room is a bigger mess because they done brought all their stuff from their room to your room. Your room is even a bigger mess. And you have all of this to do. You okay, baby? You have all of this to do. And some days you just don't feel like getting up and doing it. There's days where you can sit down and you can look at your kid and you can just think, oh, what if, God forbid, somebody come in here and kidnap one of my kids, what am I going to do? Stuff like that pops up in your head as a parent.
It's realistic too, especially with like how things, especially in America, how things are
going and stuff. And kids being kidnapped and stuff like that. It is it is different. Like it's a one tough pill to swallow as a parent. You can sit down and just think about the random thing. You could see a news article. Oh, a school got shot up.
Right.
And you just think,
that happened in Newport News, I think, a couple weeks ago or a month ago.
Yes. A school got shut up. Yeah, we're recording.
Yeah, it's really bright.
Oh, let's put
You want to dance for the fans?
this fence.
Yeah, you want to dance for the fans, Papa?
This
You
fence.
gonna wave, tell him hi.
He's going to be running in and out of this, so.
A little commercial break. It's all
Right?
good. It's all good. But yeah, so what would you say, what type of advice would you give to like new mothers as far as like what to expect like in reality as opposed to what people are used to hearing about motherhood? Like what would you tell someone that you wish you would have done?
Don't forget yourself.
Right.
That's the main thing. Don't forget. A lot of people say it. You
Yeah.
hear it a lot.
Right.
But actually, don't forget yourself.
Yeah.
Like a lot of new moms would say, you know what? The baby's at home, the baby you formula.
Right.
You have $20 left. You haven't ate all day.
Right.
And you'll walk past something. Oh, this is, you know, you walk past something in the store and you'll justify how you need to spend that last 20 on your child.
Right.
Sometimes it's okay to spend that last 20 on you.
Right.
Don't ever forget yourself, because you can forget yourself easily. Easily. Forget you and let yourself go.
Right.
And you can take that one time out the day to say, all right, this is my time. I'm going to do something for myself.
Right.
Take that time out the day to do something, like something that you like to do. But don't
Right.
forget yourself. New moms, do not forget yourself. That's how you end up depressed. When you forget yourself. You got to remember to take care of yourself. You know, if you have, you know, your paycheck come in, what I usually do is I treat myself to something.
Right.
Each paycheck.
Right.
Even if it's McDonald's. And that's my only paid, like, fast food meal out
Just
of
to
this
know
check.
that you've done something
Just
for
to know.
yourself.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. Always treat yourself. Every paycheck you get, because you're going to, regardless, buy something for them kids.
Literally. As a mom, that's the first thing that you're going to be thinking
You're
of.
going to be buying something for them kids. The kids could have full cans of formula, full bottles of water, and you're going to buy the extras. You know what I mean? So don't forget to take care of yourself. Like any little thing. Like, well, my thing is food. So every check that I get, I make sure I buy something that I want to eat.
Yeah.
I cook all the time. Breakfast, cook. Lunch, cook. Then I'm tired.
You're right.
But I can't afford to eat out all the time.
All the time, obviously.
But every check I dedicate, at one time I buy whatever I want.
Right.
And even if I have to budget it, like, okay, I wanted seafood, but today I got to set up for Chick-fil-A or McDonald's or something. You know what I mean? Every check, I make sure I take care of myself food-wise, where I eat with something nice that I want to eat.
Right.
That I don't have to sit there and slave over the stove and cook.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, that's what new moms, don't forget to treat yourself to something. Find something that you'd like to treat yourself to, and make sure that every time money touches your hands, you do that for you.
Right.
And then you take care of everybody else. Because when you lose yourself, and you lose yourself mentally, it's hard to get back. Yeah, you need yourself mentally in order to raise kids.
Right.
So you gotta remember to take care of yourself. Because at the end of the day, you need to take care of yourself in order to take care of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need to be able to take care of yourself in order to take care of them. And another thing I would tell young mothers, if you're in a relationship, men go through it too.
Right.
They go through it up here too.
Right.
The thing is, even when they go through it without the kids, they never gonna tell you. But they go through it too. Men go through. I strongly believe there's a postpartum depression out there for men.
Yeah. It's a huge life change. Like you bring a whole nother life into this world.
Literally, it can either make them or break them at the time.
Yeah, of course.
So don't forget to check in on them sometimes. You know what I mean? You good? If you good?
Yeah.
Watch for reactions. You can tell when it's starting to go bad with them. Hey, hold the baby for a second. I gotta pee. The slight, the throwback from it, you can tell that's a telltale right there.
Right.
That's that telltale sign. You don't want to deal with you or this baby right now.
Right.
Watch out for things like that. That could be the sign where he just no longer wants you, or that could be the sign that he's going through something mentally, and the baby's just gonna egg it on.
Yeah.
So check on it. Check on them. Check on them. And sometimes it could just really be the relationship ending.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could really be him going through this postpartum depression stuff too. And he don't know worse how to handle it because
he don't even know
exactly.
So it's like people
he don't even know he can
think
go
they
through
just tripping and stuff like that.
Right.
That's not the case.
He don't know he can go through it. He could be sitting here going through something because of stress from having a kid. Yeah. He's over here thinking it's some demons from his past, but really it's just the stress from having a baby. Right. So don't forget to tap in with your spouses. Don't forget to tap in with and even just that tapping in can change a lot of situations.
Because men have like a lot of weight on their shoulders, especially black men. And it's like you have to be the provider for your family, so it's like that's something that's on your head all the time. Like you can never let up on that because you have this whole responsibility outside of yourself.
It's pressure. It's pressure. And if they can't do it, it's more pressure.
Right.
It's okay for them to not, do it. So it's times where I see like, okay, avoid something for the kids and they just get into this mental state. Like, forget about that. They already here. We just gotta figure it out.
Right.
We gotta figure it out.
Right.
Men don't know how to say that. Women know how to say that. Women know how to say that. Hey, you know what?
But it's also how you say it though too. I feel like with a lot of women, it's like you're not really taught how to really be that feminine influence. Like how, because a lot of times we are raised in our masculine energy, so it's like we handle things in a more masculine way. Yeah. So like men are always like able to receive it the way that we intended to because of how we're coming across. You know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes it has to just be like a gentle touch, like. You have to have a type of gentleness to your partners. It makes them feel more safe. Right. Men, I really feel like this society doesn't allow men the space to feel safe enough to actually communicate their emotions. Because especially even not even just with women, but even their own friends. More often than not, like men have these friends that don't know how to communicate themselves, and their teachers telling them, egging them on, like, oh, da 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 da. But in reality, it's like you just need someone to help you learn how to comprehend, and then because that's the biggest thing, like comprehension, not communication. Because you can say things, but if some other person isn't like in a place where they can receive that and understand it, it just goes in one ear, out the next. Sure. It's like a waste of time.
True. Yeah. Check on them, check on yourself, check on them, check on who's checking for you. Oh, another thing with parenting. See all these aunties and these uncles? They're not gonna be there, sis. Do not depend on TT baby or Uncle baby to take care. Nah, all these uncles and these friends that you got that showed up to the baby shower. Had a blast.
Came for the baby, not you.
Right. They came for the baby, not you. They came for the baby, the whatever you got to offer at the baby shower. They didn't come there for you. You know what I mean? Having kids will allow you to see who your true friends really are.
Right.
And you know what I mean? My friends that I have now, like I said, I'm not from Virginia, so it's Faith, whoever I met out here, that I consider my real friends out here in Virginia. Right. But in New York, there's only one left. And it's my best friend. She got kids too, her damn self.
Right, she gets it.
So she gets it.
Right.
She gets it that we're not going to talk every day.
We have real life things to take care of.
She gets it that I'm not going, because she work overnight, I work during the day. When she sleep, I'm up. When I'm up, when I'm sleep, she up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So my best friend is the only other friend that I have left in New York, and the reason being she has kids to understand.
Right.
And then my friends out here in Virginia, y'all don't have kids, but y'all got your own business. Y'all got real responsibilities. You know what I mean?
Right.
The only friends that I can say I truly have now are friends with big responsibilities.
Right, because it's just like, otherwise, just what are we talking about?
You know,
like there's so much more.
Siblings that they take care of.
There's so much more like that we have to take care of in day-to-day life. You don't want to waste time explaining to people that don't understand because they're just going to keep saying the same things from their perspective because they can't understand your perspective.
Right.
Nah, I get that.
It's just it's a thing, you know. You lose friends as a mom, so you gotta look out for that too. You gotta that's something you don't put on your head. You don't even let it get close. You just peep in and leave it alone where it's at, and keep pushing. That's the last thing you need on your head.
Best friend right here.
Exactly, a built-in best friend. And guess what? They're always gonna be with you regardless of whatever situation it is. They're just that friend that never have money, but they're always there. They are always there. Let me tell you something. There is times where this little one and his dad, the both of them, or one or the other, is pissing me off. Yeah. And I go right in there to that little 2-month-old and I vent. I'm like, girl. I'm sitting here playing with her. I'm playing with her arms. I'm like, you know, your brother and your daddy is pissing me off.
You drive me crazy.
And she's just looking at me like, just smiling. And I'm just like, yeah, they pissing me off. Right. Your brother's not listening. And it's so you know you have your best friends right here. No, that's not nice. Give her a hug. Give her a hug.
Are we besties
Sorry.
now?
Yeah, there you go.
Goodbye.
Yeah, there you go.
You wanna say bye to the folks?
Give you a piece? What's it like?
What's the word of the day? What's the word of the day? You know what I mean? Yeah. Right?
You're just chilling.
Right.
He seems like he loves the spotlight. So he loves the cameras and the flash.
Yeah.
I should just, you go through my phone, most of my camera roll. It's just pictures of his forehead. Right. Or his fingers. Right. Because they're getting in the way of when he's trying to take the picture. Right. So that's it.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much for being on it. Thank you, special guest, for popping in and entertaining us.
Zakari. His name is Zakari.
Lovely. You want to say bye to the people before we head out?
You want to say bye-bye? Look, point the camera and say bye.